Cars. We in North America absolutely love to drive everywhere. And for most people in the US and Canada, cars are almost like another one of their organs. But we really didn't have much of a choice in this, as much of our built environment is centered around only getting places by cars here. But not everywhere in North America is uniform with this design. In fact, there are quite a few cities across the continent that actually have some really excellent transit and cycling infrastructure, especially closer to the core of the city. Despite these cities having great connections, many people still choose to drive into the core of our cities. While cars have long been pitched as the real one-size-fits-all solution to transportation here in North America, that couldn't be further from the truth. While cars are without a doubt one of the best ways to move around rural areas, they struggle hard at moving people in urbanized areas. Cars are actually the most inefficient way of moving people through cities, due to their lack of capacity. This is because the amount of people that a car lane can move per hour is significantly worse than any other mode of transportation, and that's why you'll often see massive traffic jams around cities during rush hour, which can increase travel times for emergency service vehicles, delay deliveries for businesses, and delay buses that run along these streets. But even worse is their impact on residents of these urban neighborhoods. These residents who are subject to drivers who don't even live in their neighborhood have to deal with the associated health and safety risks that are brought in by cars, including higher rates of asthma caused by particulate matter created from driving, as well as an increase in stress caused by noise pollution from cars. Cars are also some of the biggest contributors to climate change, as transportation emissions are the largest source of emissions created in the US, making up nearly 30% of all greenhouse emissions in the US. But on top of this, cars and gas are incredibly subsidized and given many privileges over any other mode of transportation in the US, including massive amounts of federal funding, free parking over a vast majority of the areas in this country, and the fact that taxes on vehicles like the gas tax and registration don't actually cover the cost of road maintenance, let alone the expansion or creation of new roads. So if we want to create a more livable, less traffic-choked city center, how can we do it if we've already built a decent network of bike infrastructure and transit connections? Well, let me introduce you to the concept of imagine a toll you might see on a highway. Now imagine it for a certain defined area rather than one point on a road. That is congestion pricing. Now, this charge on congestion can vary quite a bit depending on many different variables, such as what time of day it is, as rush hour might cost more than driving in on the weekend, and also the size of the vehicle. Because should a K-truck really pay as much as a camper RV? But at the end of the day, it's a fee for taking up valuable road space in some of the most congested neighborhoods in a city. Now, while the US just got its first congestion pricing zone just a couple of weeks before the release of this video, congestion pricing isn't new to other cities across the world. Singapore was actually the first such city in the world to implement congestion pricing all the way back in 1975. And since then, cities such as London, Stockholm, and Milan have all implemented congestion pricing charges for their city centers, as a way to help reduce driving into the core of the city where transit and cycling infrastructure has already been built up. And there's a good reason to do this. Probably the most obvious reason as to why cities do this is to reduce car traffic in the densest part of the city. And it works. After London implemented its congestion pricing plan back in 2003, car trips into the city have dropped considerably, down nearly 48% over the past 2 decades, with trips by trains and bus making up over 90% of the modal share into the zone. Bike ridership has also grown as well, as it was paired with the growth of cycling infrastructure in the city. And while Lower Manhattan just recently implemented its congestion pricing, it's already seen major improvements in reducing traffic, with travel times being improved by more than 30% in Lower Manhattan, with a vast majority of commuters taking transit or cycling into the Lower Manhattan congestion pricing zone. While it's still early, these results are promising and point towards the trend that congestion pricing does as it says with the reduction of traffic. Speaking of reducing traffic, one of the most important parts of congestion pricing is the revenue that is generated from it. This not so small amount of money collected over time is often used as a way to generate steady revenue towards new transit projects and improvements. And the MTA with its congestion pricing is no exception to this. The MTA is utilizing these brand new funds to modernize, improve, and expand the network by making legacy stations ADA accessible, improving frequency on some of the busiest subway lines, and finishing the second phase of its 2nd Avenue subway. The congestion pricing money is being put to good use to help America's best transit system become more accessible and reliable for the riders that use it, and more appealing to people that haven't used it. Congestion pricing is, however, not without its critiques. After all, making anyone pay for something that was previously free isn't exactly a popular thing to do. One of the biggest complaints of congestion pricing is often a question of equity. Many people simply cannot afford to pay the congestion pricing cost in order to enter the city. This is in fact a very reasonable critique of congestion pricing, and that's why many cities often have exemptions or reduced costs that drivers can file for. But we also do have to remember that cars are extremely expensive to own and maintain, with the average driver paying almost $10,000 annually just to maintain a vehicle. Most of our lower income citizens are not operating vehicles, and investing in public transportation with projects like congestion pricing is a way better way to invest for everyone in society rather than car-oriented projects which mainly benefit wealthier residents. Helping our cities move away from the car dependency that has been created by the auto and oil industry after the past century is the sustainable choice to make, not just environmentally, but also for the health of our cities and the economies that drive them. While not every city in North America is ready to take the bold step forward that is congestion pricing, there are a few that should definitely implement it. But which ones should do it? Canada's largest city and the Greater Toronto Area in general has grown significantly in the past 50 years. However, this comes with a whole host of new car traffic attempting to get into downtown. Toronto's downtown has some of the worst car traffic out of any North American city, and this also has major impacts to the whole transit system in Toronto, as the TTC and GO Transit not only run buses in downtown, but the TTC also runs a large streetcar network that can get completely ruined by car traffic. With the region also being served by TTC's Metro and the GO Transit regional rail network, while it's probably unlikely to happen soon because of the current administration in Ontario, Toronto would benefit massively from the congestion relief provided by congestion pricing. North America's largest city with over 22 million residents, Mexico City is routinely clogged by traffic on its busy streets. With the city and surrounding greater metro area continuing to grow, and the second best public transportation network on the continent, with many different systems from its metro, bus rapid transit, and aerial gondolas, Mexico City's main city center would benefit massively from a reduction in congestion and additional funds to further improve on the city's great transit network. America's capital has long been known for its traffic into the main area, surrounding some of the most important government offices in the country. With one of the best heavy rail metro systems in the US that's still continuing to expand, a good bus network, and a growing cycling network, Washington, D.C. would be a very fitting city to receive congestion pricing, especially to make it logistically easier for the essential government vehicles to move around the capital. Now, congestion pricing alone isn't going to turn drivers into people that will give up their cars to travel in a more multimodal way. Building transit, cycling infrastructure, and making our cities more walkable is going to be the better solution for cities to do that. But cities that already have a fairly good transit and cycling network can absolutely benefit from congestion pricing. By reducing car traffic in the center of the city and using the funds to build better bike and transit infrastructure, congestion pricing is one tool that we can use to make our cities a better place to live. But what do you think about the new congestion pricing in New York City? Do you think congestion pricing will work in other cities around North America? Let me know in the comments below. I want to thank everybody who helped me make this video, and I especially want to thank all of my patrons for their continued support. Without their generous support, these videos wouldn't exist. And if you'd like to become a patron and get early access to videos, extra videos, and your name in the credits, feel free to check out the link down below. Also down below, you'll find my socials. I post updates and extra content there. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone, and as always, I'll see y'all on the next one.